The Great Pyramid of Giza weighs 6 million tons, consists of 2.3 million stone blocks, and has been sitting in the Egyptian sun for 4,600 years. Essentially the world's most stubborn do not disturb sign. For most of human history, it was the tallest building on Earth. It survived earthquakes, erosions, and 19th century British explorers who, and I'm not kidding, tried to find the entrance by blowing holes in it with gunpowder. Very subtle, guys. But here's the kicker. The four sides are aligned to the cardinal directions, north, south, east, west, with an accuracy of within 3/60ths of a degree. They did this thousands of years before the compass was even invented. Meanwhile, I can't even get an IKEA shelf to stay level without 3 YouTube tutorials and a mental breakdown. To this day, we still don't actually know how they built it. No blueprints, no pyramids for dummies scrolls, nothing. Today, we're going to tackle the 3 biggest theories: the good, the bad, and the actually that might be genius. Plus, the secrets we're still finding with space-age tech. The client, Khufu's midlife crisis. Meet Khufu. He's the pharaoh, he's the CEO of Egypt, and according to his HR department, he is literally a god. Khufu's dad, Sneferu, was the pyramid pioneer, but his first attempt, the bent pyramid, looked like a cake that collapsed in the oven halfway through because the engineers realized the slope was too steep and had to change it mid-build. When it was the Bronze Age version of a software patch, Khufu wanted better. He wanted a forever home that screamed, "I'm more divine than my father, and also I have a much better budget." Luckily for Khufu, Egypt was the Silicon Valley of the Bronze Age. The Nile flooded every year, providing free fertilizer and enough excess grain to feed a massive standing army of workers. But you don't build a wonder of the world with just vibes and grain. You need a nerd. Khufu's nephew and the chief architect. This guy was a once-in-a-millennium genius. He didn't just want a tomb. He wanted an impenetrable stone fortress with 3 burial chambers, a grand gallery with 28-foot ceilings, and a king's chamber lined with pink granite monoliths. Each of those granite beams weighs 50 tons, and that is the weight of a fully loaded Boeing 737. And they had to lift them 140 feet into the air using copper chisels, some rope, and a whole lot of can-do attitude. Let's talk about how they didn't die trying. The slave myth. Who actually did the work? It's historically illiterate. We found the workers' city at the base of the plateau, and these guys were living better than most people in the Bronze Age. Archaeologists found cattle bones, sheep remains, and thousands of bread jars. These workers were eating prime cuts of beef and drinking beer provided by the state, and they were elite craftsmen and seasonal laborers who saw this as their national duty, or maybe they just really liked the dental plan. We've even found graffiti inside the pyramid where different crews signed their work. One group called themselves the Friends of Khufu Gang. Another was the Drunkards of Menkaura. That's the energy we're dealing with. These weren't slaves. They were a highly organized, hydrated, and motivated workforce. The alien. In the room, let's be real now. We can't talk about the pyramids without addressing the ancient aliens crowd. I get it. It's a fun story. But saying humans couldn't do this is basically the ultimate skill issue. It's a weird form of historical racism that assumes our ancestors were too dumb to use a lever. We have found the quarries. We have found the copper tools. We've even found the mistakes. Pyramids that fell down or were built at the wrong angle, which is exactly what you'd expect from humans learning through trial and error, not from an advanced species that traveled across galaxies just to stack some rocks. If aliens built the pyramids, they probably would have left something more high-tech than a copper chisel and some donkey hair rope. Theory 1. The big ramp energy. The classic, the most common sense theory is the external ramp. It's the one you saw in your 3rd grade textbook. You tie a rope to a rock, grab 20 of your strongest friends, and then you heave. It's simple, it's elegant, it's also physically impossible, about an 8% grade. A ramp reaching the top of the pyramid would have to be over a mile long. It would require more material to build the ramp than the actual pyramid itself. And where is the debris? If you build a mile-long mountain of rubble, you're going to leave a mess. Archaeologists have found small ramps, but nothing that could reach the 480-foot summit. Some people suggest a spiral ramp that wraps around the pyramid like a corkscrew. Cool idea, right? The architects needed to see the corners at all times to check their angles. A spiral ramp covers the corners. If you can't see the edges, you end up with a very expensive pile of crooked rocks. And as we know, the Great Pyramid is the most precisely aligned structure in human history. The base is level to within 3/4 of an inch. That is insane. So, unless they had X-ray vision, the spiral ramp starts to look like a spiral headache. Theory 2. The French connection, the internal ramp. In the late 90s, a French architect named Jean-Pierre Houdin had a eureka moment. He realized the Egyptians weren't building on the pyramid, they were building from the inside. His theory suggests they used a small external ramp for the bottom third. Then, and this is the galaxy brain part, they built an internal spiral ramp. Imagine a parking garage, a hollow tunnel inside the structure that zigzags up behind the face of the pyramid. This solves the "where is the ramp" problem, because the ramp is still there. It's just buried inside the masonry. But wait, there's more. Remember those 50-ton granite beams? Houdin thinks the Grand Gallery, that massive, weirdly tall hallway, was actually a giant counterweight system. He proposes a trolley filled with rocks slid down the gallery, using gravity to help pull the massive granite beams up the other side. It's a 4,500-year-old elevator. Is there evidence? Actually, yeah. In 2017, a team using muon tomography, basically giant X-rays using cosmic rays from space, found a big void right above the Grand Gallery. It matches Houdin's theory perfectly. And if that void was used to house a counterweight system, it solves the mystery of how they moved the heavy stuff without needing 600 guys pulling on a single rope in a narrow hallway. Theory 3. The 2024 water discovery, the high-tech path. Now for the brand new stuff. For years, we wondered why the pyramids were built where they are. It's a desert. But in 2024, researchers used radar satellite imagery to find the Ahramat branch, a long-lost arm of the Nile that used to flow right past the Giza plateau. This was the missing link. It was a maritime superhighway that allowed the Egyptians to float those massive stones right to the construction site. But a controversial new study suggests they didn't just use water for transport, they used it for lifting. The theory, hydraulic power. Once they proposed the Egyptians built a series of dams and a water filter system to capture rainfall and Nile water. By opening and closing valves, they could raise a wooden float inside a vertical shaft like a piston. Imagine a giant water-powered elevator in the center of the pyramid. It's bold, it's high-tech. It's also widely hated by mainstream Egyptologists. Zahi Hawass, the Indiana Jones of Egypt, basically called it nonsense. Why? Because there's no evidence of giant water pumps or waterproof seals in the Great Pyramid. Using water to lift 2-ton blocks sounds great until you realize that if your water elevator leaks once, you've just turned your pharaoh's tomb into the world's most expensive swimming pool. The King's Chamber, a masterclass in over-engineering. Let's talk about the King's Chamber for a second, because this is where Hemiunu really flexed. This room is made of solid granite brought from Aswan, which is 500 miles away. The blocks are fitted together so perfectly you couldn't slip a credit card between them. But there's a problem: the weight. Above the King's Chamber is about 300 feet of solid stone. That's millions of pounds of pressure pushing down. To prevent the pharaoh from getting flattened like a pancake, they built 5 relieving chambers above the ceiling. These are basically empty gaps designed to redirect the weight outward. In one of these chambers, some bored worker 4,000 years ago scrawled "The Craftsman Gang" in red ochre. It's the ultimate proof that humans, not aliens, built this thing. And they were just humans who were really good at math and structural engineering. The Diary of Merer, the smoking gun. For thousands of years, we had 0 first-hand accounts. Then, in 2013, we hit the jackpot in a cave at Wadi al-Jarf. We found the Diary of Merer. It's a 4,500-year-old papyrus logbook written by a middle manager named Merer, who was in charge of a crew of 200 men. The diary describes in detail how they transported high-quality limestone from Tura to Giza by boat. It talks about opening the dikes to let the water into the artificial canals. This is the only time an actual pyramid builder speaks to us from the past. It's not a magic spell or a religious text. It's a logistics report. It proves the Egyptians were masters of water management and fleet coordination. Anmar didn't mention aliens or magic levitation. He mentioned schedules, boat repairs, and stone counts. It's the most boring, and therefore most important, document in history. The big void, the final mystery. Even with all this, the pyramid is still hiding secrets. In 2017, the Scan Pyramids project used subatomic particles called muons, which are like electrons but heavier and come from outer space, to see through the stone. They found a big void, at least 100 feet long. What is it? A hidden tomb? A secret library? Or just a structural gap left by Hemiunu to keep the Grand Gallery from collapsing? We don't know yet because we can't get inside without drilling, and the Egyptian government is understandably protective of their 4,000-year-old landmark. But the fact that we are using particle physics to study a Bronze Age tomb is the ultimate testament to how incredible this building is. Conclusion: the 6 million-ton middle finger. The truth is, we might never have a 100% case closed answer. The Egyptians were obsessive record keepers. We have their tax returns, their receipts for donkey feed, even their love poems. But they never wrote down the how-to guide for the Great Pyramid. Maybe they thought it was obvious. Maybe it was a trade secret. Or maybe, just maybe, Hemiunu is up there laughing at us while we use space-age particles to figure out what he did with some rope and a really good plan. The Great Pyramid isn't just a tomb. It's a 6 million-ton middle finger to the concept of impossible. It's a reminder that with enough beer, beef, and a genius architect, humans can build something that lasts for eternity. If you want to see more deep dives into history's greatest, how did they do that? Moments, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell.